Welcome to another episode of the Hard Rock Show, a special Monday edition this time around. I'm Andrew.
Tim.
I'm Dave.
Brendan.
Thank you all for joining us. If you're just tuning in, later on and it's not live, we thank you just as much for joining us as well. Spending some time with us is always welcome. But for those that are here tonight, get in the comments, say hi to us, and give us your thoughts as we go along. To like, follow, subscribe, all the usual things that everyone gets you to do. Please do hit the links in the comment, in the post or the description of this, wherever you're watching or tuning into this one from. Everything you need to know to follow us is there. And also, please do the same for our fantastic sponsors in Squidding, Screen Printing, Alt, Cult, and Rockstar Finance. To get into it, tonight we're going to be talking about the latest from Desecrator, the Night Flight Orchestra, and the mighty Iron Maiden. We'll have a lot more than that with some hard rock happenings and a hot topic on Guns N' Roses in just a second. But before we get stuck into all the usual things, let's do the rounds. How are we going, Tim? How is it going for you this week?
Mid pay-per-view, so any spoilers get a smack in the head.
This is true. No spoilers on the AEW pay-per-view. That must be strictly, I'll be monitoring the comments for that. No spoilers. Otherwise, people will get there.
Otherwise, the reach of the computer screen is fucking...
Okay, outside of the obvious level of excitement for that one, Tim, how are you going?
To be honest, good. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm a little, artificially hyped up because of the show, but good. Yeah.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
This is what Dave's going to look forward to.
Hey?
This is the mood Dave's going to look forward to.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, man, I can't wait to watch this.
All right. Well, on that, how are you going, Dave?
Yeah, I'm good. We had Father's Day yesterday, so I had a fantastic day. Kids spoiled me. Julia spoiled me. I ate so much damn food, I'm going to be working it off. Never. So happy with that. Yeah. Got some odd beer. Its slogan is quite nice beer, so I can't complain with that.
Okay.
Yeah, not bad actually. Apart from that, I don't even know what day it is anymore. But, we've got beer, we've got wrestling, we've got family, we've got music. Can't complain. Everyone's happy and healthy.
Yeah. Nice. What about you, Brendan? More of the same?
Yeah, but like everyone else, I think at the moment, moods are sort of coming in waves. The lockdown's tough. Like last weekend, I was struggling, and I'm a normally pretty happy, sort of peppy kind of dude, and I was battling. Yeah. This week I'm in a really good mood, and I'm enjoying life. I don't know. I think that's just kind of what we got to put up with for another few weeks until we're allowed to go out and play again. But hopefully, we're on the final stretch. It feels like it. So. To everyone now, get there, I suppose, hang in there. We're nearly there.
Yeah. We are getting there. Everything's good.
It feels like it really is the home stretch this time, though.
It does.
It's felt like that before, though. To be the Debbie Downer, it has felt like that before.
Gladys will fuck it up
but
again.
This time they kind of got no choice,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. It's like, because, the public will decide. It's like, no more. We're outside. See you later.
I think they already have decided, to be honest, anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, judging by the traffic and stuff at the moment. But yeah, 4 for 4. I'm pretty good all around. Nothing to complain about. Had Father's Day yesterday, which was nice. The only downside is we couldn't see our girls on the day, but at the same time, got to speak to them and spend some time with them that way. So that was always nice. Spoke to my old man as well. Everything's pretty good. And main thing is everyone's happy and healthy overall. So we just sort of just keep riding the wave and get on with it. I'm busy enough that I don't get to think too much about things. So it's all pretty good from my end. I just keep working away and keeps me nice and distracted. So head down, ass up, off you go. It's all pretty good. I like it like that because it means, you don't really get welling in things too much. Got a few people already coming in and say hello. So thank you all for joining us. So Nicole Gaylor over on YouTube, thank you for joining us once again. Good to have you with us tonight. Same with Keith from Rautism on YouTube. Very nice. Good to see you here. Terry, good friend Terry. Now, you guys won't know her, but Jody and myself know her. Jody knows her from way, way back. So good to see you here, Terry. Thanks for joining us tonight. Our good friend and regular Nudes. Nudes is here with us as well. So thank you for joining us. Dean, hey, lads. I hope everyone had a good weekend. Yes, we've just covered it off. So hopefully you did as well. And our good friend Jeff over on YouTube as well. Good to see you here once again, as always. Sally, another regular. Good to see you here. Awesome. And then Keith has also said, Waka Changi, not a bad drop. So there you go, Dave. There's some comparative. There you go.
It even says, quite nice beer. Fucking awesome or anything. It's quite nice.
Haven't oversold. That's good. That's important.
Yeah, setting the bar at a solid 7 out of 10.
Nice.
Average.
Jeff asked, how's everyone going? Ever had the jabs yet? I think we all have, aside from Tim. You haven't had yours yet, have you?
I've had a first jab. I'm just waiting for a second jab.
Okay,
Nice.
cool. So we're all on the path then. Nicely done. All right, and in response to you, hey,
I'm nearly due for a booster.
you've been doing it for a while, actually. Anyway, Lee's gone. It's Groundhog Day, Dave, when you're talking about your little intro like you do every episode we do. And we finally got Andrew Marshall, a very good friend of ours, good supporter of the show. He's jumped in on YouTube saying time off tonight. He usually misses out because he's not around, but good to see you here with us. No, obviously we've got the right night for you. Dave Lee Daniel, howdy legends, good to see you all. Likewise to you, good sir, and the same with Right After Midnight as well. And Tony Ashcroft, hey lads, which is nice to see you here. Thank you for joining us. Terry's still with us, so it's cool. Happy Hard Rock Dad's Day to you all. Thank you very much for that. And Matthew Corder, finally 30-day ban over. Question: is Dave a relative to Edge from WWE? We've had this one put in the lounge, I think. I don't believe you are, but I'll leave you to clarify the record there.
Well, who thinks he knows him?
To be honest, that's clever. It's possible. I never actually met my dad, so we might be actually related. You don't know. If he is a blood relative, I expect him to loan me some money.
Yeah.
There you go. To which Matthew's just gone, hi, guys. So good. Thank you for joining us. Good to have more people here as well tonight. All right. We're into a good mood. We're having some fun. Let's keep this train rolling on tonight. So let's get into the fun stuff to start with. Now, for those who aren't paying attention, I'm going to put a link in the comments. If you want to go and check this out, you can. It's a longer video. But yeah, if you really feel like having a look at this, it's a good, fun little thing from the side of stage as a little girl named Nandi Bushell got to take the stage with Foo Fighters very, very recently. She was playing drums. And if you hadn't noticed, this has been going on for a while. I think it's taken about a year to get this thing lined up because there was some sort of YouTube challenge back and forth between Dave Grohl and her. And it's all culminated with her being on stage with the band a very, very short time ago. So congratulations to her and the family and to the band for making something like that happen. But there's a video there to go and check out if everyone wants to go and do so. But otherwise, just generally speaking, how do we all feel about, kids jumping up on stage with their, favorite bands, their idols or whatever else? So, Brendan, where do you land on this one? I like it personally. I don't think there's much to not like, but yeah, what do you think?
When something's born so innocently like that, something that goes viral, and, it comes to, look, it's a dream come true for the kid, like she'll probably make no money out of it, and Dave probably will. That's the reality of the situation. But who gives a shit? Made everyone feel warm and fuzzy for, 15 minutes, and she's got some chops. She's good. Yeah. So, look, I got no problem with it. It's whenever they pull someone out of the crowd, Foo Fighters do it a bit, but still Panther do it as well. There's a few other bands that will drag someone out of the crowd and give them a shot. And when they can pull it off, I think it actually makes for a pretty special moment. I kind of dig it. I was fortunate or unfortunate enough to be at a Slayer gig at Festival Hall where Tom Araya didn't have a voice, and they were just pulling people out of the crowd all night. And it turned into kind of Slayer karaoke, which in a way was awful, but in another way it was kind of awesome. Like just seeing some fucking yobbo trying to get out there and wail for dead skin mask with Slayer. I'm like, man, that's kind of cool. So I'm all for it. I think it's ace. Anything that makes people happy.
Yeah, exactly. Right, you, Tim, it's been brought up that, she's got some chops. Where do you, I'm assuming you're going to be the judge for us here. You're the drummer. So how do you go with this?
Well, Nandi's been viral amongst drummers for a little while now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's a little badass. So, more power to her, more power to the Foo Fighters, and for providing everyone with a feel-good moment. And, I hope that, in 20 years' time, she's still going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the end. And if this helps encourage her to keep going, then more power to her.
Yep. Well, Dave, I'm going to assume you're on the side of loving this, being a dad yourself. So give us your thoughts.
Absolutely. You can't help not smile when you see stuff like this. When you see little kids get up there, play whatever instrument they're into with their favorite bands, and they're probably going to be the hero of the school that they go to, or everyone's going to hate them if everyone at the school likes hip hop. Even so, it gives lots of cool attention to rock bands for the younger generation, and it's always good to keep the music alive and get them while they're young. If kids are growing up listening to this music, they're passionate enough to learn an instrument, and they get a bit of a taste of being up on stage in front of a big audience, then it's good all around. I can't see a negative in this at all.
Yeah.
When you see the videos and you see everyone smiling, the crowd's loving it, kids are loving it, bands are loving it. It's just, like Brendan said, warm, fuzzy moment. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a no-brainer kind of a topic, but it is something very cool to acknowledge. I love this shit. I'm a big sucker for it. I like it when, like, Steel Panther have done it. These guys have done it. Five Finger Death Punch do it. Like, a lot of bands do this on a semi-regular basis, and it's always really cool. And even if the kid doesn't get up and perform, they just get up and sort of get the crowd to interact with them and things like that. It's a really cool moment to sort of sit there and take it all in. So yeah, I think if anyone has a problem with this sort of stuff, you got to be a Grinch. So maybe get a hobby. But I just
Swimming pool did it with that 85-year-old guy too. That was cool.
That was awesome. That was fucking awesome. That was cool.
Or Dave Chappelle seeing Creep.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that all these things, like one, you go from the pure viral marketing point of view, and crossover is always good and it always gets the hits and all sort of stuff. But just from the perspective of the family and the kids, and especially in the times we're in at the moment, it brings a bit of joy and a smile on people's faces. Fuck it. Just do it. There's no harm in this at all. I think it's fantastic. So it's a no-brainer conversation, but I just wanted to bring it up and go, okay, this is pretty cool. We haven't really talked about it much on the show, so I thought, yeah, fuck it. Let's give it a go. Before we move on, Sumaleth has giving us the horns on YouTube, so he's joined us, so thank you for jumping in. Sally said, I saw a drum masterclass thing with Steve Adler. I thought it was Dave. They look so similar now.
Yeah.
Nicole's gone, she's amazing, referring to Nandy, which is cool. And David said, it's amazing and bloody good on Dave for having her on. Exactly dream come true for Nardi. Keith says she's like Animal from the Muppets, but more adorable. That's a pretty good way to put it, actually.
No one's an animal. That's ridiculous.
Sally generally goes, I love the bands interacting with the crowd. Makes the gig really sort of there, and if it makes your heart swell, if you're not, it's cool. All right. Nude said Green Day always pull a kid out, get them to play, and let them keep the guitar, which is not really cool. Yeah, that's very, very cool.
The adult version of this is Bruce Springsteen bringing up women for dancing in the dark.
Yeah.
Which of course started with Courtney Cox, so yeah.
Well, that's the thing, and it's like, I swear to God, it's like these people with their dream come true.
Yeah. Well, what Winger changed the lyrics of one of their songs in reference to this, didn't they? Instead of 16, she's only like 25. Like they changed the lyrics up for a fun gag in the live moment to play on years gone by. So it always gets good when they sort of acknowledge the passage of time as well. But anyway, Sumalith goes, I'm looking forward to the day when Nandy pulls Dave Grohl out of the audience to join her on stage for a bash. That'd be a good turnabout. That would be cool. And Jeff says, anyone says they wouldn't want to get up on stage with the musical heroes is fooling themselves. It's a dream. Nothing wrong with having your 15 minutes of fame. More power to them, I say. Yep. BP with just joining us on YouTube saying AC/DC rocks. Yes, I don't think you find any disagreement among us at all. And Terry's gone, she is amazing. So she loves the foos. There we go. All right, cool. All righty, so on to the next little bit of a goss. And this one's going to be a little bit more, I think we're in agreement, but I'm not quite sure how the hell we're going to try and explain this thing. So I'm going to put this as an article in the comments. Go and check this out as well. But it turns out that Gibson are launching basically this concept where you buy shares in these guitars that get locked away in a vault, which is a bizarre concept. I forget which one of us found this. Was this you, Dave? Did you find this one?
I don't think so. It might have been Nick.
It might have been
Nick.
Nick.
This was mine.
Oh, this is yours. Okay, well, then, Tim, you go first because you found it. So what the hell?
I just enjoy making fun of Gibson making stupid decisions because they tend to make a lot of them. And then complain that nobody buys their guitars, and that's why they're going bankrupt. In reality, companies like Fender and Taylor are doing just fine, and it's just Gibson makes stupid decisions. And this is one of the many stupid decisions that they've made.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're asking people to put in, $10, $15 to buy some SG that gets locked away in a vault and you never play it. And in the hopes that somehow the value rises as you would buying stocks, and that eventually you'll get a payout on your $10. Somehow.
Okay. So apart from it being incredibly stupid, have you got any other thoughts on that, Tim?
Whoever buys this, I got some steak knives to sell you.
Got a bridge in Sydney for you as well.
Yeah, man.
Fucking hell. All right, Dave, what about you?
Yeah. So you send in money for a guitar you're never going to see, you're never going to play, you're never going to touch, you're never going to get to show to your friends, and you might get your money back at some point in the future. This is fucking ridiculous. I've seen some pretty stupid ideas recently, but my God. Yeah. I got nothing.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Moving on.
Okay. Well, Brendan, you're the guitar collector. Does this have any merit whatsoever in your opinion?
I wish I was a guitar player.
Okay. Well, you are that as well. It's just that you got the wall behind you, unlike any of us.
Look, this is just a fucking retarded cash grab. Let's be honest. Call it what it is. It's absurd. At least when Tesla do dumb shit like this, there's half a chance they're actually going to release a product.
Yeah.
This is just something born from an accountant. And, you can tell when some companies are sales driven and some are numbers driven. And Gibson have obviously been very numbers driven for a very long time. And this is the kind of dumb shit idea that comes out of that bullshit environment. So, they can get stuff.
Now all we need is Gibson to release guitar with bulletproof glass.
Yeah.
What was that?
Now we need is Gibson to release a guitar with bulletproof glass. It's like, look, we'll throw a bowling ball at it.
Yeah.
Bulletproof scratch plate.
Yeah. It'll be, lining the litter trays of the world tomorrow, this news, so it doesn't really matter. It'll disappear as quickly as it came on.
It'll disappear as quickly as Gibson's $50 million into TIAC.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. But it's funny because we were just talking about Gibson recently. They're doing a few different things. Aren't they doing the record label as well?
Yeah.
And so it's just like, this is just another what the fuck moment from this group. You wonder why they go through ownership and they've been tanking for so many years. This is why. This is nothing but a cash grab. You've got no fucking hope in hell of making any return on your investment. I don't even see how. What are you going to do? Get a live stream to a guitar in a vault? I mean, what the fuck is the point of this thing?
Well, I think the point is eventually they will sell it for more than the cost of the shares. And you'll get part of that back.
Yeah, but even
the person is that buys it at the end of that should be fucking sterilized.
Yeah, that's true.
Meanwhile, Fender have this novel concept where from $200 to $20,000, no matter what you're going to spend, you can find a guitar with their name on it.
Yeah,
and that's pretty much it.
This is one of the silliest ideas I've seen in the 10+ years I've been doing this shit for now. I've never seen anything like this, and it just blows my mind. At least with the new NFT kind of market, when things are on sold and that a percentage goes back to the creator and stuff. So I could understand in that sort of a concept it was treated more like an NFT. But this is just, they're trying to treat a guitar that gets locked away in a vault like a share. It just has no fucking value whatsoever because there's no way to tangibly improve upon it. So just fuck off. I don't know. Blows my mind. We got some comments coming through on this. So Andrew Marshall's gone, I can't see it working. I don't think anyone can see it working. If anyone can see it working, let us know. Because fuck, even like the press releases I've seen of this just make no fucking sense. I don't know how.
If you can see it working, let me know how to get Dr. Gibson.
Yeah. Fucking hell. Nudes has got a good comment here. At least won't break a string. That's true. It's about the only good thing about it. Jeff says, in all fairness, it's no different than buying stocks. It's the same principle to a point, but at least a stock has a. Sorry.
Well, the thing is, when you buy shares in a company, there's a chance that company may do something in the future. Whereas, an individual guitar is just going to sit there.
Yeah, and I think that's the difference. It's an individual item versus a prospect in a business.
It's like buying shares in a train as opposed to a train company.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Nicole's gone, it's basically a GoFundMe. I've probably been generous in that opinion of it. Keith's gone after the Robo-Tune disaster. I guess they're just giving up innovating guitars and pleasing people. So, yeah, that's a facet there as well. Sally's gone, concept is genius. What the fuck? Then Keith gone, imagine Gibson fans being just as dumb as Apple fans. Well,
Ooh, them's fighting words.
Yeah, they are. Considering how many Apple products I use, I'm not going to call myself a fan. They're just very convenient for me across the board. But anyway, Darren's
that's the Apple fan equivalent. I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but
careful. I'll go find some spoilers for you, friend.
I know all the results, so I've got it. There's the sort of.
Oh, here we go. There we go. Darren's gone, what is the highest priced guitar is sold for, not originally owned by an artist to make it popular? I don't know. That's a good question.
I don't know, but I do know the most expensive guitar was recently sold, and it was the first ever mass-produced Les Paul.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That got refinished and had all the, rebuilt a little bit and resold for stupid amounts of money.
Cool. All right. BP has gone, Andrew, is your jacket for sale? That'll be a hard no. So
no, but you can send him $10 for shares in his jacket.
Hey, if that works, I'm going to run with it.
Next time your crowdfunding, we'll do that. We'll sign a T-shirt and put it in a vault.
Oh wow. All right. If someone buys a bottle of wine and puts it away in a cellar for years, it will increase in value. That's true on the proviso that someone can eventually consume the bottle of wine or collect it in person. This one is getting locked in a vault. And Andrew's gone, shares can still tank like the mob I used to work for, paid $22, now worth $12. Well, yeah, that's true as well. And Gibson, their shit in general is pretty much folding anyway, so whatever. And there we go. I don't know. It's a pretty interesting idea. I don't think it's got any merit whatsoever, but we will see what happens here. Dave's jumped in. Good to see you, Dave. He's gone, didn't they auction one of Paul McCartney's guitars recently for stupid money? They do.
Quite possibly.
Celebrity.
I do know Ringo Starr recently had a garage sale.
Oh, wow.
Where he sold a bunch of drum shit, including the drums that he played on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Wow. Fuck. Okay.
Which, again, that went for stupid money.
This is true. What did you say before, Brendan?
I don't know. I'm full of shit.
Darren's gone, rather put $10 in for a share of Slash's next album. I think that's all of us, mate. So there we go. All right. Now, I'm going to put another video in the comments that you can watch if you dare, if you really, really want to. I don't know if you really want to, but hey, I'm going to put it there just for the reference. And this is a very fun little thing to close off this segment on the show on, and that is just the good news that Vince Neil is getting back in shape. Now, all puns aside, I actually think it's a good thing, and apparently I think Nick has seen some performances where his voice is already sort of on the improve because he's putting in the work. But if that's a good thing and it brings fans more value for money when he goes out and gets on the road again and it gets him to actually be able to perform versus being gassed after a song and a half, it's not a bad thing, and it's probably going to be good for his health in any way, shape, or form. So I think it's, yes, we're going to have the obvious humor out of this, but I think, yeah, if it works, then get on him and go for it. Brendan, any thoughts?
I think he could get himself down to 80 kilos and ripped and still wouldn't be able to sing a lick anymore. I think he's well cooked. And it's not just because he's fat prick and he's gassed all the bloody time. His voice hasn't been shit for 20 plus years. And last time I saw him, they were down tuned like bloody 4 steps or something from where they were. If he gets better, I'm all for it because I love Motley Crue and I'd like to see them play and play well. Yes. And I'm glad he's at least putting in some effort because the last couple of times have been fucking terrible.
Yeah.
But, I'm a fan. I want it to work. I just can't see it. It was likely as Paul Stanley getting any better. It's just not going to happen. And he looks after himself,
Yeah, this is true. Some comments here going on. All right, Dave, what about you?
You had an episode of The Simpsons where Homer gets really, really bloated. And at the end, Mr. Burns tries to get him in shape. Like, one. I'll just pay for the blasted liposuction. Yeah. That's what the video reminds me of.
Well, he's using the electronic thing to do the ad work for him, which is a bit of a, okay.
He's too lazy to even exercise. He just puts the electronic thing on. Okay, jokes aside, he's actually in the gym. He's getting some work in. It's good to see him making an effort. I'm no singer, but I think breathing is a big part of being able to sing. So if he can get his weight down, maybe if he puts the work in, he might be able to sound half decent. It'd be cool if it happens, but I don't even know. He probably doesn't even know if he can get to his goal or if he can get his voice back. So in all honesty, I'm just glad he's making the effort. So points for that.
Yeah,
but it's time will tell.
Well, in all fairness, it's kind of hard to see it getting a lot worse than it was on the last show. So yeah. Tim?
Well, even if he can't get his voice back, it's good for his health.
That's it. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Yep.
I'll say that.
Way too sensitive, Tim.
Well, I've been trying to think of a pun involving Kickstart My Heart, but it's a bit morbid.
Oh, wow. Okay, we're getting some good comments coming through too. I'm gonna get this. Oh fuck, this is all right. So David Lee Daniel jumped in before to say Eric Clapton's Fender went for $5 million. Fuck me dead. Jesus,
fuck,
a lot of money out there.
A lot of vaccine, Eric.
Yeah, well, that's true. Sumo said if Ringo Starr played those Gibsons before they go in the vault, then they go down in value, so never mind. So that was back to that one there. Larry McDonald said Vince Neil, the ultimate low-hanging fruit. Yes, this is a low-hanging fruit segment on the show, so that's what we're all about here. A bit of fun here. Sally's gone, thank you, Brendan. So true, he sounds crap. That's from a fan's perspective. And yeah, a few of us are fans. We're doing a special on Motley Crue in November, so that'll be interesting. TJ, thanks for joining us. I said by the time Vince is down to 80 kilos, Mick Mars is down to 4'7".
Excellent.
That's a good call. There we go. And back onto the guitars. Jeff's gone. This to me sounds like Gibson telling the world that, hey, since you can't afford our guitars and in a similar way you now can buy a stock in a guitar that you won't ever play, the bean counters win. Pretty much what it is. Keith says, just some exercise, eat some veggies, drink a lot of water. And Sally's gone, diplomacy, guys. Well done. Yeah, don't get used to it. All right, let's get into a hot topic because this is the one that, Dave, I'll go to you first on this. Guns N' Roses got their set cut short at Bottle Rock, and you have been fucking moaning about this all day. So, go.
Okay, so apparently they were supposed to finish at 10. They were 3/4 of the way through Paradise City, had 3 minutes to go, and the power got pulled. I think it's fucking ridiculous. 3 minutes, go over time, find the band, everyone goes home happy. But even after they pulled the plug, the crowd was singing along, and the band just continued on. You couldn't hear them, but the audience was singing. It was actually pretty cool. But I think how fucking petty to just pull the plug, bang on time. If you're living that close to a stadium or a venue or even a local place in the city, fucking curfews, you chose to live there. Okay? Tough shit. And, it's not like Guns N' Roses can't afford a little fine. And, back in the day, they played a 4-hour show. I don't even know what time they started. And, back in the 70s, Led Zeppelin played 4-hour shows. Everything's so bloody structured and organized. Where's the, pushing the boundaries and mixing things up? And 3 minutes. Who gives a fuck?
All right.
Yeah, okay. I figured Tim would retort to this.
All right, first of all, Dave, if you think that noise is not a problem, I'm a drummer. Would you like me to come next to you?
Yeah.
You got young kids, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Me at 10 o'clock at night, I'm thinking, I've got to practice some songs because, you got to practice at the same time you play, like a boxer.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to practice at 11 o'clock at night.
I don't live
No,
in
but
a
in all
stadium.
seriousness, this is just Guns N' Roses being unprofessional. Every single band, from a local band right up until the biggest bands on earth, have to time their set out to play a certain time, because every venue in the world, from the biggest venues in the world to the smallest venues in the world, have some kind of curfew, right? And if you run over that, you get fined. And the reason why they can't just fine Guns N' Roses is because Guns N' Roses aren't responsible for that fine. The promoter is. The promoter can't afford to pay that fine. Guns N' Roses can, but Guns N' Roses aren't paying that fine.
Why don't they fine the band?
Pardon? Well, because Guns N' Roses aren't liable to pay it.
Why not?
Because the promoter gets the risk. That's how these things work.
The
promoter's the one who puts on the show.
Yeah, it's always on the promoter.
It's always on the promoter. If a fire breaks out, it's the promoter who covers the cost, not the band. And it's why if you've ever been to a gig in Melbourne, a major show at Rod Laver or Festival Hall or anything, everything ends at 11 o'clock at night because that's the time Melbourne's curfew is. Right? And if you run over that, happened to Liam Gallagher a few years ago, you get the power pulled and that's it. That's the end of the show. And what happens is that's why there's a clock on the side of the stage, and it is on most stages. That's why you see local bands pointing to the sound guy going, 2, 1. That's because we're asking them 2 songs or 1 left. Right? And every band would have to time out their set, and if you're running a bit over, you just drop the second last song and you play the last song.
But cutting a band halfway through a song, or 3/4 of the way through a song.
Yeah, that's because Guns N' Roses were too unprofessional to do it themselves.
It's half 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's still $250,000.
Yeah,
it's the most expensive 3 minutes since I've been to Amsterdam. I'm in a good mood today.
Yeah, we are. We're having fun. All right, Brendan, you got a middle ground on this one, or?
Nah, fuck Axl Rose. He's a wanker. I've seen Guns N' Roses 5 times in my life. I did a count back today, and he was late for 4 of them. So he can go and get fucked. He is an absolute fucking wanker when it comes to stuff like this. They know what time the set starts fucking months in advance. He's unprofessional. He kept his fans waiting 16 years for a fucking album, and he can't even turn up on stage on time. The fuck with.
As far as I know, the most recent tour since 2016, they've always been on stage on time.
Oh, good.
Sometimes they get on stage early.
Yeah, but what's the point if you're running over the time anyway?
It's like spontaneity. If a band feels like playing more songs, they should be able to do that. They used to do that back in the 90s or in the 70s. Everyone did it.
Do if you're playing in a bar, not a stadium, mate. This is not new, and they should bloody well know better.
Yeah, plus you got to think as well, man. Like, it's not just about the band. Like, there's people there working.
Yeah,
they got to go home.
If I was in the audience, would I be pissed off? Absolutely. But this is fast bowlers and front foot no ball, as far as I'm concerned. You go 2 millimeters over the line, bad fucking luck. And they're going to complain, it was a wicket, and the 2 millimeters wouldn't have made any difference. Stiff shit, you overstep. Same fucking thing here. They overstep, they cop it, bad luck.
During the Illusions tour, they went over time a lot, and they got fined. Not the promoters, the band.
Good.
Yeah, and you know what? Yeah, and then the laws changed.
Not for the better.
Is that why it took them 16 years to make another album? Because they couldn't afford it?
It didn't take 16 years.
Chinese democracy was how many years? 15, 13? Whatever.
They weren't exactly
working
on it for 16 years. They didn't start working on it until the late 90s.
All right, that's getting way off of this topic.
They still work harder.
Look, honestly,
it just takes all the spontaneity out of it. If a band wants to play extra songs, they should be able to. They have to pay a few fines.
If the band wants to play extra songs and leave room for spontaneity, then they should write a shorter set list to begin with and play songs, longer songs if they want to.
Yeah. The thing is that most.
I mean, to be honest with, like, not to put ourselves over, but that's why, like, my own bands have shorter set lists for that reason.
Mm. Yeah.
Generally discuss what song we're going to drop if we're running late.
Yeah, and that has to be. That's a discussion that's to be had.
That's like I get like not to put ourselves over, but Tasha's dad films every Orange show. Go back and look at the length of those videos. They're all bang on 30, 40, 50 minutes.
Yeah.
If Orange can do that, then Guns N' Roses can do that.
Yeah. All right. I'm getting a comment here. Andrew, take control. So I'm going to jump in. Yeah, that's true. And Cyclone Tash is something else to watch in that moment as well. Having signed these contracts,
I got a hypothetical. Let's say there is some technical issue due to the venue, like PA goes out or something.
Different argument.
Come on.
No. Tell us.
You don't get to make up the time though.
If the venue has a problem, like the PA goes out and needs to be fixed, then we play for 20 minutes. We play for 15 minutes. Yeah. That's part of the deal.
I've had it happen.
Yeah.
I've had a gig booked where the power went out and each band got maybe 20 minutes as opposed to the 40 minutes plus they were going to get.
We played a show with one band where it was an Arcane Saints show, and it was Avalanche, and Saints were the main supports, and the band before us got 3 songs.
Yeah. And it always works that way.
Yeah. Someone ran over and someone had to cut.
Yep. And that's why when you're running a night, you got to be really you got to get your start time sorted out, and then you got to make sure the first band stays on fucking time. That's why changeover and all those things become really important. When bands bring a lot of props, you get fucking angry really quickly because that's just going to eat into all the time you've got. When you sign a contract to book a venue that is one of those international touring ones, you have all the rules and stipulations that are there. The cutoff is strict. They tell you in advance you will get cut off if you do not do these things. For our extravaganzas, the contracts were pretty ironclad. If a venue gets a fine, they're going to pass it on to you. But the problem is that once the band and the promoter and everyone else has moved on, the venue is still left with the relationship with the council or the local laws. And that's where things like liquor licensing, workplace relations, all those things come into effect. The site itself has to maintain a viable relationship with the people that are around it. If they can't do that because they keep running over time, the $250,000 isn't even the end of the problem for them because I go to business in all other facets because I don't get any other approvals to do anything at all after that. It sucks. I get it from the fans' perspective, but in this case, if like Guns N' Roses by this point in time we're 21 songs in,
the last song.
They're in their encore stage. I mean, that's on them. If they can't get their shit together to do that, and this is a band that's not new. They've been around for ages and ages and ages. You know the rules when you go into these things. And other people say rock and roll shouldn't be professional, it should have room for this and room for that. Then allow yourself headroom at the end. If they've gone that far over, if they allowed headroom at the end and they went that far over that they still got it cut off, and believe me, they would have had warnings on side of stage, through the fallback. They would have had a million warnings that you're going to be running over time. You got to do something. And they still didn't do it. I think that if you know how this works behind the scenes, it's much more on the band than anyone else. And I get that the fans are going to be disappointed and all those things. But hey, every one of those fans that was there was going to be filming and getting a million hits on their YouTube channel right now because they're filming and singing the close.
But that's the thing, right? If they drop one song and then go straight to Paradise City, the fans don't know any different.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, you do. You do. But you're obsessed with them. Out of the 15,000 people there, 14.5 don't know any different.
Yeah.
If they dropped something off Chinese democracy, no one would have cared.
Exactly. This is not to say, but if you notice, this is why just about every Metallica show, the second last song is a cover.
Mm.
I can guarantee you that's there for strategic reasons.
Yeah, it's room to drop. You always allow for that sort of stuff. And I know that it sucks. I do understand the fans' perspective and the 3 minutes and all that sort of stuff. But at the same time, if you're on the hook for $250,000 and the after effect of what happens dealing with the council and local laws after the fact, then yeah, it's not worth the hassle. I know that, cutting off 3 minutes is not much, but it's a big deal to the people that actually have to look after it all in the end when everyone moves on. Not ideal for the venue. So I do empathize, but I'm going to put it on the band firmly.
That's the other thing too. Like I've never played with a band as big as Guns N' Roses, but I've played with international touring bands. Like
the schedule is on.
You get there at 2:00 in the afternoon, 3:00 in the afternoon, and it's pinpoint from there all the way until 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, you have to run these things.
Yeah, like it's not about like it's about more than just the band. There's
Yeah.
a road crew and everybody else that have got to be there on time. There's people serving drinks. There's people there to clean up. There's people there to set up the PA and tear everything down and load the truck and move everything. You cannot afford some dick shit band just afford to play as long as they want to. Doesn't work.
It's not even including things like union laws and stuff as well. Once the unions get involved in this sort of crap, to imagine the amount of money that comes out of it then as well, because employers have done over. It's just nuts. It's really a lot more to it than that. And if a band like Guns N' Roses can't get that right, well then it's on them. I'm sorry. But
one of the best Zeppelin shows that everyone talks about is in 1975. They played for over 4 hours. They just kept playing, played everything they had. You know, that was spontaneous.
50 years ago.
I missed that shit. I wasn't even born then.
I know. Hey, I'm not saying I agree. I'm saying I get it. And
I gotta be perfectly honest though. After 4 hours, I'd probably go.
I don't want to listen to anyone for 4 hours.
Yeah,
this is true. All right, we're moving on.
It was fucking great.
Because someone put in a comment earlier on saying, where was it? Yeah, Sumblet. I expect the show to end at 10 p.m. on the dot. Good luck with that. Going back through things.
Does that mean we have to drop the Night Flight Orchestra review?
No, I'm gonna because that's gonna be good for the lols. The difference is Nudes has gone. Who sounds worse these days, Vince or Diamond Dave? I'm gonna put Vince in that one.
Vince.
I think that's universal. Andrew's gone. I saw Bowie back in the late 80s at Kooyong was second show, made him turn the volume way down. It sucked. Yeah, I get it from the fans' perspective, but again, there's a lot of money involved. David goes, they signed a contract with the show to go ahead and lands on the promoter, unfortunately, not the band. So that's from David there. Dave Saul just goes one word, Meatloaf. Or, yeah, that's take of that what you will.
There's another plus as well, I suppose, that Guns N' Roses couldn't play for 4 hours because they don't have enough material.
They have played for 4 hours. And that was because of democracy.
Chinese democracy just feels like 4 hours. It's not actually 4 hours.
All right. Hook, line, and sinker there. Sally's gone, 3 minutes for real. Like I said, I get it. BP has gone since when is rock and roll professional? Hey, it actually is these days, unfortunately. It kind of is when you got that much money on the hook. But anyway. Brendan, he didn't get his lamb shanks, apparently, hence why he was late. That's what he loved to eat before he performed. He didn't get it, he wouldn't perform. That's referring to Axl Rose there, I believe.
What is it? Apparently, he was at the casino having a good run on the blackjack table, which is why everyone was waiting around for 2 hours.
Okay. Well, there you go.
King Rockiness.
Yeah. Wasn't Dave Grohl playing with them? Yes, he was. And that's the second time that Dave Grohl's actually been cut off at that venue. So make of that what you will. Maybe they just don't like him. Jeff's gone. Tim is spot on. Promoters shouldn't be liable for this, but it's the reality of it. Bands don't cop the fine. And when you think about the amount of $250,000, that's a lot of dollars to pay for a song. That's true. Tony's gone. Can't compare the 70s and the 80s to rules around noise now. The Gunners should know this. There you go as well. Again, density and stuff is much bigger than it was then. What do we got? Darren Humphreys. Hit the damn orange. 10 songs set, 40 minutes. One Dream Theater song, 40 minutes.
42 minutes, actually.
So we've got the audience knowing their market here really well. So, Dave, I do feel sorry for you, but I think you're a whipping boy tonight. So Lee's gone. Agree with Brendan. I waited for 3 hours in the cold at Rock Arm Ring 2006, waiting for Guns N' Roses to come on at midnight. Finally appeared at 3 a.m. Axl is a prima donna, disrespectful to his fan base. Wow. Okay.
That was then. This is now. Since 2016, they've never been that way.
Not confident, Dave.
No. Anyway,
they made up for it. There's more than made
comments, up for it. TJ's gone. You could be fined. Yeah. So play on words for everyone. What else? Tony's gone. Don't even go there. Cold Apart looked like they weren't even going to come out. There was nearly a riot. Well, there we go. It's gone way back there too. Andrew's gone. We had a gig at Bendy between lockdowns. The band I was there to see was on second. Had 3 songs cut to make way for the final 2 bands, and that's what happens, unfortunately. But then again, flip side is George Thorogood, 85 at the Palace, 4 hours. Yeah, 4 hours is a long time to stand there. Well, he could ad-lib. He could very well ad-lib a lot.
Bad to the phone for 2 hours.
When everyone Scotch one beer can go for an hour and a half.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's it. Pretty much. He does like to get his jam sessions in. Anyway, we've got a few reviews to get through tonight. So let's talk about some bands. Let's have some more fun while we try and get onto this one. So first up, first reference track is a song called Summoning by a little band called Desecrator. That's the first one. So in the description or the post where you're tuning in from, the link is there. It's also in the comments now. So your reference track is Desecrator, that's the band, and the song is Summoning, which happens to be the title of the album. So our first review of the night is Desecrator with Summoning. 10 tracks, 44 minutes, the second studio album from the Australian band, released August 2021 independently, recorded at Toyland Studios and Legion Studio Productions in Melbourne, with the latter being where it was mixed. Recorded by Adam Kalatsis, Jared Roberts, and Julian Renzo, who also mixed it. Mastered by Brad Boatwright at Audio Siege. One official single has been released in the title track, but there are also videos for Hate at First Sight and Manic. Even though this is the band's second studio album, it's worth noting they've been around in some way, shape, or form since 2008. So it does take a bit of time to get things moving along. Tim, how'd you go with this one?
Fucking great.
Yep.
Yeah, look, very, very well written thrash metal album. Doesn't take too many breaks, but I thought it sounded fantastic. All the vocals were really great. But the thing that I loved the most about this was just how well written the songs were. Everything that you wanted to hear coming up next came next. The use of time was very clever, when to double time, when to half time, and when to just pound away and, really get you some nice headbanging moments. I thought the use, they managed to find some nice little hooks throughout, be them rhythmic or with the vocals, or some nice catchy riffs throughout this as well. And it's just a really good, solid thrash metal album. No weak points throughout. Really solid. Enjoyed it. 8.5 out of 10. Belly of the Beast was my highlight. Recommend it to anyone.
Beautiful. Dave, agree or disagree?
Yeah, agree. This is fun, fast, brutal, and a diverse listen. Thrash metal done really well. There's lots of breakneck tempos, and there's a few slower moments built in, but that really just builds the extra punch when they kick back into the heavy shit. The slower moments are very melodic, and there's good mix of tempos, and each song is unique. There's something interesting all the way through this album. What really stands out for me, surprisingly, is the drums. They're fucking brutal. And Tim would probably articulate it a lot better than me, but holy shit, there's some cool moments of the drums in there. And probably the double bass, I don't know drum shit, but that sounded cool.
Yeah.
The musicianship is really impressive throughout. It's fast, and everything's really clear, especially on the guitar solos, just fucking shredding. The song Beg, Steal, or Borrow, the guitar solo in that is fucking smoking. There's a lot going on with all the instruments, and it's all captured really nicely. It's a really good sounding album. They don't have any Foley effects or any setting the atmosphere bullshit at the start. They just get straight down to it. Haven't heard anything from this band before, but this is a pretty damn good starting point. I gave this 8 out of 10. Summoning, Belly of the Beast, and A Light in the Dark were my standouts.
Cool. All right, Brendan, we going to make this uniform?
Yeah, loved it.
Yep.
This will probably make my top 10s this year, I think. It's
Fuck, okay.
I really liked the last album. I think that made my top 10s that year, whatever that was, 3 years ago. What was the other one? To the Gallows or whatever it was called?
To the Gallows. Yep.
Yeah. This is better. I actually think it sounds better. I mean, Riley's vocal, he's not the strongest singer in the world, but it's captured really well in this one. I think he sings much better on this one than the last album. His vocals are really good. And he said, not the best singer in the world, but fucking powerful. It suits the music.
He uses what he's got well.
And whoever's recorded it and mixed it, I think, has done a fantastic job. It's not muddy at all when stuff is this thrashy and quick. You can get a lot of sort of overlap in the sounds. There's none of that. It sounds phenomenal. I reckon they've done an incredible job. I'll be listening to this a lot. I gave it 8.5 out of 10 as well. Like Belly of the Beast, Manic, and Hate at First Sight. Thought it was fucking sensational. Loved it.
Cool. All right, well, this kicks off with a little sort of 30, 45 second little instrumental atmospheric thing, and then it's on. What grabbed me here straight away was the balance of the melody against the punch this has. It's got a lot of punch and a lot of melody at the same time, and surprising hooks, like things like Beg, Steal, or Borrow, that you can hear that hook in your head as you listen to it and you go back a few days later and just in my head now. I like the open space left for the final act in the title track. Now, Summoning, there's some really nice use of the the backing and the gang vocals across this one, but that track in particular was a good one to pick out for a video in that regard as well. But it's got a really nice sort of final act on that one. It's been covered. It's very thrashy metal. You got your pounding riffs and drums. There's some really blistering stuff on this one, but you got some good gear shifts on this one in mid song as well as between the tracks. Things like the bass ringing through and Hate at First Sight was a nice little touch in that one there as well. And you've got some nice chug, little bits of darkness on this one. It'd be great to see this album played front to back live. I think it flows that bloody well. It feels like a set when you listen to this album. And in the way they've got the songs written and performed, there's some real sort of crowd, sing along, chant along, get a moving kind of moments. There's some stuff written with that in mind, I think, and it would work really, really well. I would like to see this as soon as we possibly can.
Yeah.
I liked the production. The tones were really nice on this one. The drums and the bass had a really nice bit of warmth to them, but the guitar just crunched on this, and the lead cut through perfectly. The vocals were just a touch back, which is good for Riley because it works for him. It allows him to sort of belt it out and go for the fences. And he just got a really aggressive tone, but like I said, the melody is what was surprising about that and how it worked. It was all blending in really nicely. Great solos on this one. Some nice sort of dual lead work here and there as well. And I think this is what's cool about this album. Like To the Gallows is really cool. And this one feels more like the band coming into their own a bit more because it's more of a melting pot of all the thrash bands you know and love being just distilled into one thing that doesn't sound anything like the rest either. It's very much a Desecrator album. They've really settled on who they are and what they're doing, and it just works on this one too. I think there's some nice use of space, some really nice boom in the bottom end as well. And I don't know, there's not a lot of tricks, but there's some little bits of panning here and then make it interesting. Beg, Steal, or Borrow, like that song there, again, is another example of, if you want to hear one song aside from the Summoning title track, go and check out Beg, Steal, or Borrow. That's another good reference track for this album, I think. And you do get a nice little change of things with the light and the dark. It's a slower and darker track on this one, a bit of a haunting sort of touch toward the end there, which is a nice little addition on this one. Basically, if you like your metal or your thrash, give this one a listen because it won't let you down. We've all enjoyed it tonight, and this will be 4 from me. I like it. This is 8.5 out of 10. Summoning, Manic, and Belly of the Beast were my actual personal standouts. So there we go. That's a uniform agreement on that album. Keith has gone, that's a hard-hitting track. Hey, Riley. So, yep, that's the point of that one with the Summoning title track. What else we got here? Nicole said, Desecrator are bloody awesome. Riley's a great guy too, so I figured you'd be a fan of that one there. And Sally's gone, yep, I was there too. Getting it after the gig was hell. I'm assuming that's going back to the Calder Park comment there. But Tim says, hi, guys. Good to see you here, Tim. He's gone, this is a killer album. Saw them over at the Metal Church, and they're a great live as well. Yes, they are a very good band to see live. So if you get a chance, do so as soon as we can. Now, for those that are playing along for a while now, you know we tend to take some gear changes and get ready for it. Because we've gone from thrash to, we've put this in, Brendan, you put this in, you requested this, I'm sure, because you think it'll be fucking hilarious for us to go over this band again. So we're going to talk about a little band called the Night Flight Orchestra. So that is the band. The reference track is Change, which is a new video dropped, I think, a couple of days ago. It's the newest one. So there you go. If you can't see it in the comments, it's in the description or the post. Night Flight Orchestra, song is Change. Let's have some fun. This is the Night Flight Orchestra with Aromantic 2, 12 tracks, 51 minutes, the 6th studio album from this supergroup made up of members from Soilwork, Arch Enemy, and Mean Streak. Released September 2021 via Nuclear Blast. If the past is anything to go by, the band have produced this themselves with some help from Thomas Blake Johansson, though I can't confirm that. 3 singles have so far been released, including White Jeans and Burn for Me. This is the first with new keyboardist John Lonmeyer. And this band are always fun to review, going on our past with them. So let's see how we go this time around. And Brendan, rip the band-aid off. How about it?
Well, the reason I picked this out of your list of releases is because I thought it'd be the most entertaining to review.
Yep.
Being past, because it's like Jimmy and Den were both big fans of this band, and I think a lot of us were sort of listening to it going, I don't get it. This album, I get it. I'm a bit...
Oh, okay.
I was a bit surprised. I listened to this and really enjoyed it. And
I'm surprised hearing that.
Yeah, well, I didn't know what to put it down to, whether or not I've been overdosing on 80s pop recently, which has probably got a little something to do with it. My ear's probably a bit more tuned to this kind of sound. Or is it a better album than the last ones? But anyway, I thought it was great. I thought it sounded amazing. It's captured really well.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a huge departure from what they're doing. It's sort of kind of 80s montage kind of you know music. But yeah, for some reason this one I found it really entertaining. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
This is not going how I thought it would go.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting to go, no, these guys are still shit, but maybe the penny's finally dropped with me. I don't know what it is, but I really, really enjoyed it. If you're rusted on metalhead, you probably won't. You know, if you're like me and you've been listening to the Footloose soundtrack lately, you probably will. You know,
there's an endorsement.
Yeah, that soundtrack's fucking awesome, and I won't have anyone say anything.
No, I agree. Actually, I do agree. I'm begging off.
Mate, Never by Moving Pictures is one of the greatest songs that never gets played live because they don't get any money for it, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
No, this is great. I give it 8 out of 10. I thought it was fantastic.
Nice.
Burn for Me, Change, that'll do. 8 out of 10.
All right. Cool. Let's go to Tim next.
Soilwork and Arch Enemy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm not bad. I'm disappointed. And you know what the worst part is, right? Like I love cheese, right?
Yeah.
I love cheese. I like you know. I even love blue cheese, right? But this is like too cheesy for me. Like, you know, like I feel like, you know, there's a missed opportunity here because the same day this was released, ABBA released a new single.
Yeah.
And ABBA sounded more like Soilwork than Night Flight Orchestra.
Okay.
Like this is like, oh my god! Like I'm a long time Eurovision watcher. This like peaked my Euro trash meter. Like,
oh wow!
To be perfectly honest, I mean, like, I can see the appeal of it, right? Because I mean, every gristled old metalhead has wanted to do a cheesy project once in a while, right?
Yep.
You know, we've all.
Yep.
You know, there's a reason Trent Reznor's producing the Halsey album.
Yes, that's
you
true.
know, it's we all. Some of us like to branch out, but you know, like, and it is, you know, ultimate just cheesy pop, and you know, like, there is a time and a place for it, and I'm sure for the right person, somebody's going to enjoy it. However, for me, I was not in the greatest of mood when I listened to this. And this just really ticked me off. Like, I had to bin it, so I was very upset listening to this.
Yes.
Like I said before, I'm not mad. I'm disappointed.
Wow. Okay. Anything more,
Yeah.
or are you done? That's it. You
More
vented?
like I said, this is not for people who like pop music. This is for metalheads who like to, you know, dabble a little bit in something else on the side.
All right.
Dan's obviously watching. He just said "Never" is the best song. He just sent me a message.
I get it. I mean, you know,
Hi, Dennis. All right.
I get
What
it.
about
I
you,
mean,
Dave?
I've listened to Black Spaces by Taylor Swift. I get it.
Okay. All right. Dave, you going to bin it as well?
This band is fucking evil. It's like Body Snatchers. Because years ago, Jimmy and Dennis were both banging on about it. I remember I didn't get it. Andrew didn't get it. The next album we reviewed, Andrew got it. And he highly promoted it. Everyone else was shit-canning you. They got Brendan this time. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, the first song, Violent Indigo, whatever.
You're next.
Indigo, actually started off okay. There's lots of keyboard and what would expect from this band. And I was surprised for a brief moment. I thought maybe I misjudged this band for a brief moment.
That means it's your turn next, Dave. On the next album, you'll be the one that gets hooked.
No, they're not going to get me. That song Midnight Marvelous came on, and it went fucking downhill very quickly.
That is a great song.
It's painful. The chorus is fucking terrible. Oh, God. It's the type of music you get a vasectomy to.
Oh, wow.
Okay. All these songs could be in the Cobra Kai soundtrack, and I reckon they wouldn't be out of place.
No,
that's true. That is true.
What soundtrack?
They sound like the Strokes with keyboards.
All these songs could be in Cobra Kai, and they'd fit.
No, they couldn't. They've had Airborne on Cobra Kai, for Christ's sake. How can you put this on Cobra Kai? Jeez.
Oh, mate,
and Airborne is cheesy 80s rock, which is exactly what this is.
Yeah.
No, this is not rock. The guitars sound horrible. And that solo in the song How Long is like fingernails on a chalkboard. That tone is terrible.
Man.
It's the third song on the album. And I'm already asking how long this is going to take. Now, a lot of this reminded me of shit I'd hear in movies or in shops or in radio, and I'm trying to avoid. But the only time these songs actually made me really pay attention is when I was trying to figure out what song they were ripping off. And I got 4 examples. Burn to Me is like Newton Dance from the Pointer Sisters. I Will Try, Motown Song by Rod Stewart. Zodiac, Man-Eater by Nelly Furtado, that's how you say her name. And How Long, Maniac by Michael Sembella. So if you like those artists, you'll like this. This is what happens when people say, I like rock and metal, but I like all types of music. I'm going to like pop as well. It's just fucking awesome.
Oh, wow.
Now, there is a few different tempos which differentiates the songs a little bit, but ultimately they're just the same fucking thing for over an hour. Now, I'm sitting out the back and I'm listening to it to do the review. And my daughter comes up to me and Chardonnay Nights are on. And she's like, I don't like this song. If they think this is rock and roll, they need to do some studying. That is sound advice from my 10-year-old. Okay, she knows. The only positive thing I can say about this is the song White Jean was okay. The guitar in that was pretty good. But overall, there's a song by Steel Panther I'm sure we all know called Turn Out the Lights. And at the end, Michael Starr says, thank God that it's over. Listening to this album is the musical equivalent of what happens in that song. It's like getting fucked by a fat chick. You know, right after this finished, I had to put on David Hasselhoff's new album because that is actually better.
No, it's not.
This gets 1 for White Jeans. That was okay. Apart from that, this band is just absolute garbage.
Oh. All right. Well, we've got some good comments coming through, which I'll get to those in a minute. Let me do my review. Fuck this. I loved it. This is a really good album. Brendan, you're not alone. I know this will get some comments, but I went back to Aromantic 1 before listening to this one as well, and I went back again. That was pretty cool. And this one just picks up where it left off. It's less guitar-driven than the previous one, which is why, it's going to get a lot of hate. But, but this has the big-time 80s vibe. And for me, what I love about this band is just how it's just pure feel-good music. And we review it because it's divisive as fuck. It always gets a laugh out of us. But I really do enjoy what they've done for the last few albums. And like Dave said, it usually hooks a couple of us in, and then every single time it grabs a different person all the way through. So, Dave, I'm looking forward to your next review.
Not going to happen, damn it.
But what they do well, this band, is just make it so they make music that just feels good to listen to, and especially in the place and time we're in now, because they couldn't tour the last one. They went and did another album. It's like, okay, cool, more of the same feel good stuff, which is actually kind of perfect for where we are today. For some people, it's obviously more torture on top of it all, but for me, it made me feel good, so I enjoyed it. It's incredibly indulgent. They make no bones about it. But I love the rhythm and groove on this one. The production is glossy as all fuck. This just sparkles, but it's got a great bottom end on it as well. It's really fleshed out, which makes this thing stay really well balanced. And then I thought that when the guitar did come through with the solos, there was some really nice work with the guitar and the keys playing off of each other in the solo work there as well. And there's some good opening up of things for like the classic audience clapping and all that sort of stuff. You've got those moments there. So it's funny that it came out the same day as ABBA when there's a lot of the whole pop crossover thing going on with this. But this would be a lot of fun to see live with the songs I've written on this record. You get hooks and melody for days all through this one. I thought the tones were great from top to bottom. So, Dave, I don't know what you listened to this through, but yeah, there were no dud tones on this one. Of all the things you could critique, tones is one you can critique on this band. But I like how the space on this was great. The way the songs trailed out was fantastic. It was really well executed. Great layering on this. There's a fair bit going on when you listen to it deeply, and I enjoyed how this is put together. The performances, it's a big group, and they've got a lot going on, and the performances are all nailed to the post. Really well done. And Bjorn, the vocalist, who's also from Soilwork, he just does. His vocals are fantastic on this. I really love his vocal ability to do this sort of music, and the backing vocals and the harmonies really complement him nicely as well on this. I thought the use of groove and tempo changes on the album were enough to keep you interested. It was a lot of fun. It was not stale at all for me. And even though their albums are consistently on the longer side, they do it very, very well. You've got some almost pure 80s pop on this with tracks I Will Try and Zodiac, as well as all this other stuff, but it all fits together nicely. And this is a band that here we go. We've got some more comments. I'll get to the fuck, I'm going to love this. Look, this band is clearly a love or hate it kind of a band. We know that. We've known this for quite some time, ever since Jimmy and Dennis way back when started banging on about this group. Look, for me, I've obviously fallen into the camp. I love them. I think they are a great band. They do a lot of good stuff. And like I said, it's made me feel good listening to it. So it's a 9 out of 10 for me. I love it. Violent Indigo and Midnight Marvelous, fucking great tracks, but also picked White Jeans as well. So I like this one a lot. So there we go. Let's get into the comments, though, because this is going to be fun. What do we got? Tony's gone, thanks for taking me back to the 80s, but not the good 80s. So we're going to get a few references in the moment here. Sally's gone, in the bin. Wow, I haven't heard it yet. Wait until you do, Sally. Wait. Ray's gone, if you don't like the Night Flight Orchestra, you're afraid of yourself. So we're going to get some deep introspective stuff going on here. Nudes has gone, something Dave hates more than the Sex Pistols. That's hard to do.
Yeah, that's true. The Sex Pistols are way, way better than this.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Keith's gone, future hot topic. Who rocks harder, the Night Flight Orchestra or Mumford and Sons?
Oh, come on. Jeez. That comment can get in the bin.
Yeah, that's that one there.
I once saw Mumford and Sons play at Letterman, and they belted that shit out.
Good for them.
I'm with Brendan. I think Brendan and I
on stage at the end of the gig. Yeah.
So we've got a clear divide following what's been done on the camera here. With the Brendan and I are on one side, Tim and Dave on the other side. It's been worked out perfectly by happenstance there. Tony's gone, don't hold back. You and your daughter were spot on, Dave. So there we go. David James gone, Dave is the man. So Dave's getting some love here. And then Darren goes, oh, no, I just listened to that Night Flight Orchestra video and I liked it. Here we go. Dave is always love your work. So thank you for tuning in again. And then Jeff's gone, it's almost as if Dave had been forced to listen to another Rush album.
Rush is way better than this. Even the vocals from Rush are better than this.
Oh, wow. This is saying something, too, if you follow up in the past. The Night Flight Orchestra, like masturbating with a cheese grater, slightly amusing but mostly painful. That's a good comment there, Lee. Cheers for sharing that one.
Classic Ford Fairlane line. Awesome.
Yeah. And Dave's gone, nothing wrong with Mumford and Sons. I haven't really checked out much of their stuff, so I can't really pass my judgment. Oh, yeah. And David Johns, happy Father's Day, boys. Thank you, and likewise to you if that applies to you as well. All right. Let's do it. Let's get on to the main event because this is the one that everyone wants to get through before people want to go off and watch their wrestling pay-per-view for the night. So let's get into it. This is the main event for the evening is none other than the mighty Iron Maiden that just dropped a new album. So we're going to give you a reference track. In the links and in the comments now, we have Iron Maiden, The Writing on the Wall. That's the most recent actual video from these guys. So we have got this one out there. I will say that inlay is pretty fucking cool. Brendan has the vinyl and he showed it to me the other night. It looks fucking great. But anyway, let's get on to the main event of the evening, which is Iron Maiden with Senjutsu. 10 tracks, 82 minutes, the 17th studio album from the British band, released September 2021 via Parlophone and Warner. Produced by Kevin Shirley with Steve Harris at Guillaume Tell in Paris in early 2019, apparently. 2 singles have so far been released in Strategio and The Writing on the Wall. This is the band's first new album in 6 years, which I think is their longest break between albums. is their second double album. This is also the band's first since Power Slave in 1984 to not have any songwriting contributions from guitarist Dave Murray. And it's also the first since Virtual 11 in 1998 to have multiple songs written by Steve Harris on bass alone. So there we go. Dave, let's go to you first.
Yeah, this is fucking fantastic. I loved it. Over the past 10 years, Maiden have been adding more and more prog elements and longer songs to their albums, and I've enjoyed the journey. But I think this album, Steve Harris has finally been able to create the ultimate prog rock album that still sounds like Maiden while bringing new things in as well. The last 3 songs are the longest on here, and they're all written solely by Harris, and they're fucking brilliant. All the way back right to the X Factor, Maiden were bringing the progressive elements with Sign of the Cross, and then Bruce came back and they did Dream of Mirrors, but each album has had that one really epic song, has become more and more. This is probably the first time you could call probably the whole album progressive. There's some shorter songs on there, but they've all got that songwriting to them. This is like picking up a really good book of short stories. You have the overall theme and style, and then you can go off in many different directions. But it's one of those books that even though they're all short stories and all have different writers, members of the band, you just can't help but listen to this all the way through, over and over again. There are a couple of songs under 5 minutes, and it's no surprise I prefer the longer songs on this. They don't feel long at all to me. I mean, you got the melodies and the riffs and then the shifts between each section. The song development just draws me in and takes me on this awesome journey. It's really engaging songwriting. The changes come at just the right moments, and sometimes it's a slow build to change, and so it's that sudden dramatic change that they do. The song Lost in a Lost World, there's a really brilliant instrumental section there where they shift from your typical Maiden melody to the riff and then back to the melody again. Then it goes off into a different direction, and it's fucking great. I love stuff like that. I thought the keyboards worked really well to help to fill out the sound and set the moods. And you got 3 guitars now, bass and keys. That's a hell of a lot to work with in the whole grand scheme of Harris's composition play. Yeah. Interesting track flow. The title track, which is the opener, it's kind of a slower track. You don't usually get the slower one opening the Maiden albums. I mean, the second song, Strategio, would be a more normal opening track for a Maiden song, but I thought just changing it around a little bit was a very cool idea. Death of the Celts. The first time I heard that song, it's just like, fuck, this is fantastic. It just got me right from the very start. And it's probably one of the longest songs on there. And, oh, man, it just got my full attention for the whole thing. I was just wondering what comes next. It's a truly epic song and really well composed. And it's just really great to hear that familiar Maiden style and sound taken to new places. You got some really unusual stuff for them. They've done Journeyman on acoustic before, but there's quite a bit of acoustic parts throughout this. They got the intro to Lost in a Lost World. It's got that soft opener with the keys and the acoustic guitar and then the backup vocal harmonies, but it's still very much Maiden. And they've all done a fantastic job of still being who they are, but bringing a whole new feel to it. It's fucking great. I didn't just want another Iron Maiden album. I wanted something different and unique. They've got a huge catalogue of music that we all know and love that we can just go to that. They're going to do a new album, do what they want to do. Hopefully the fans will enjoy it as much as I did, but it's exactly what I wanted. They fucking delivered. I gave this 9 out of 10.
Wow, cool.
Strategio, Lost in the Lost World, Death of the Celts, The Parchment, and Hell on Earth. But the whole album, I can just listen to it over and over.
Okay, cool. Let's go to Tim next.
I really like Iron Maiden a lot. Seen them live 3 or 4 times now. I got Nico McBrain's drumstick back there. Hung out with the band backstage Rod Laver one night. Listened to this a ton, and I honestly think that this is one of the weaker Maiden albums. And to be honest, I reckon there's probably 40 albums this year I've heard that are better than it. The best review so far that I've seen of this album actually came out before the album was released, and it was from a satire site that said, scientists find a great 3.5-minute song in an 8-minute Maiden track. And I think that sums up this album really well. I think there's great riffs all over this. I think there's great melodies all over this. However, I think it just drags on too long for what it is. Just lost me throughout parts of it. I just thought it was a bit wank for a lot of it. And I thought, been a lot of talk about the mix, which I'd agree with. I thought it was a little bit muddy, and I thought it did Bruce no favors.
It shifted a bit.
It was they prioritized the guitars over the vocals, and because there's three of them, and they all have that very mid-range guitar tone, it meant that Bruce had to sing over the top of it. And in 1985, Bruce just sang over the top of it. In 2021, Bruce either needs some room or he might need a bit of downshifting or somebody to mix around him. And I don't think they did that. And I think overall, that probably hurt the album and the listening experience of the album as well. With a better mix, would have been a better album. But yeah, I just don't think. I think the riffs are there. I think the songs are there, but I think there probably should have been some more tape left on the floor. This would have been a much better, sleeker album. This would have been a great 45-minute album. Instead, it's a very average hour-long album.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Writing on the Wall is my highlight. Yeah, 6 out of 10. Nothing special. It's a fantastic cover art. Yeah. Like I said, there's great riffs on here. It's great songs, but it's just too much wank.
Yep. All right. Cool. Got a few comments which I'll get to in a second, but Brendan and I were talking about this album the other night, so I got a pretty good idea of where you're going to go. But over to you now, mate.
Yeah, I land kind of between the two of them, to be honest with you, what it is. At an hour and 20, it's just too bloody long. Iron Maiden are at a point now where they're probably not going to get a producer that's going to come in and, chop them down and tell them to make things a bit more concise. And it's unfortunate because I think that actually would help. It's there are a couple of two of the longer songs on here are actually the highlights, and they're really good songs. And I don't mind them being the length they are, but combined with being an hour and 20 minutes is a hell of a lot of listening to do, and it's not their strongest material they've ever done. I know a lot of sort of traditional Maiden fans want to hear, more concise songs like their classic songs, your Aces High, the Triple M stuff. We want to hear that. And to be honest, I'd like to hear a bit of that too. I'd like to hear them just come out with an absolute fucking banger that just punches you in the face and go, yes, Maiden of old. The last few albums, we haven't got that. And it seems a bit of a shame because I'd like to hear it again. I like the longer tracks. I like what they do always have. I mean, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, one of their best. But you look at what the other stuff on that album, and it gives you more balance. This seems to lack that balance a bit. I don't know if the vinyl does sound a lot better than the digital one. I've only listened to it on Spotify and the vinyl. The vinyl does sound a lot better, but it still is a
CD sounds much better too.
Yeah, it is a strange, muddy mix. I know where Tim's coming from on that one. It's a bit weird. But it's cool. Like, if you like Maiden, you're not going to turn it off. But if you were ranking Maiden albums, it's not going to land in the top half. Yeah. It's good. It's good without being great. It won't make my top 10 albums for the year, but I will keep listening to it. There's some really good tracks. Particularly for me, Parchment was the one. I think that it's just an amazing, as a long song and a place that sort of, like the long Maiden tracks of old, sort of, that takes you on that journey, and it's a wonderful little track. Where a lot of the other longer ones on this just seem to drag. They just land on a riff and just play it over and over again, and you're like, you really could have chopped chunks out of it. So, look, it's good. Maiden fans aren't going to hate it. I don't hate it. I'll keep listening to it. It's good. But, I don't think it'll go down as a classic. Similar to their last couple of albums. Just sort of in that, very listenable, but not – it just lacks a bit of punch. So, 7 out of 10 for me. The Parchment and Writing on the Wall, which is a song which really grew on me. The first time I heard it, didn't dig it heaps. And now I really like it. It's one of the strongest songs in the album.
All right. Well, long songs make for a long album. This is certainly that. I think that what I think they've done with this is because they're going for the vinyl thing. I think they've targeted 80 minutes on purpose. They've gone for 2 40-minute albums, 20 minutes aside, and they've gone, okay, let's make an album fit that format. Oh, sorry, 3 discs then, but I reckon they've settled on that being the quote-unquote double album kind of thing. But that's where I think that they've gone for that formula and they've made songs to fit, if that makes sense. The keys and synth is actually back on this one in a more prevalent way than has been done more recently, but I don't mind it. I think it works pretty well. Over this one, it does. The interesting part about it, though, is it just sort of followed the melody, which made it a little bit redundant. It didn't quite need to be there. I don't know if they were trying to, if they were just using it to sort of boost Bruce's presence a bit more, it would have been good, but it just followed the guitar melody in that as well, so it didn't sort of help one or the other too much. So it sort of, I don't know. It was good. It didn't do anything wrong, but it didn't really add a whole lot either at the same time. But it was, just in the background there, and it was sort of like, okay, cool, it's there. You do get some of the old gallop on tracks like Strategio, but you get some new sort of semi-Western flavors in things like The Writing on the Wall. And I think that song, I know a lot of people were a bit mixed about it when it first came out, but I've really grown to love that one, same as Brendan has there too. And the mix, I know we're getting some comments about Kevin Shirley and stuff, which I'll get to in a little bit, but this isn't as dead or as dense as previous ones has been. It's not as bright as I would like it to be. I think they need more room in their mixing overall, but it's not as dense as previous ones have been. I think that Bruce's vocals being back a bit, that is a tail of the tape when it comes to the guitars occupying the space. But I think it's also might be a bit of an acknowledgement of time passing for Bruce as well. Like, he still belts out a really good vocal, but I don't know if he's got quite, like, if he's going for those notes, I don't know if he's got the same power to hit those notes he used to have, which is not a knock. No one does as time goes by. But I just think it's starting to creep in a bit, and I don't mind it. It's just an observational thing. But the approach on the mix wasn't uniform. There are some songs where Bruce was pushed much more up front, and those were the ones that I actually enjoyed a lot more, I think, overall. And that sonic shifting helped to keep it moving in a long album. I like the tones overall, though. There's a nice warmth to the bottom end, and the acoustic tones are nice on this one. It's a bit more somber, more mature overall, but it does work for what they're doing now. But I think that to counter that sort of somberness in the tones, I've got some upbeat moments on this one too. Tracks like The Time Machine, there's a bit of a galloping kind of a moment to that, and that almost had a touch of Brave New World about it for me. But it's hard not to notice when you dig through this one that Harris wrote the 4 longest tracks on this album. I think there is something to be said about that. And the counterpoint to that one, though, is that when the songs got the most gallop in them, that was the one that Harris wrote with Yannick Gers. And Yannick cops a lot from the fan base, especially in the live setting, but he wrote the songs with Harris that are the most galloping, more traditional Iron Maiden tracks. I think that needs to be recognized as well, because I thought they were good songs on this one.
Three minutes till curfew, by the way, mate. 3 minutes.
I know. There's my 3-minute warning. Good thing I'm not paying any fines for this. But look, I'm like Brendan. I wish they'd give us a few 4-minute sort of belters. I do wish. I know I'm not expecting it, but I would just a couple of them on this would really break it up nicely. And this has a bit of a tendency overall to bleed into itself. Like, the songs tend to just flow from one to the other, and that's not a bad thing in terms of it being. If it was a concept album, I'd get it, but it's not a concept album, so it's hard to sort of understand what the purpose of that was. There's been a lot of love here for The Parchment, but I think that song is filler. I think it's just way too long really? For what it is. Yeah, no, I think it's filler. Yeah.
Best song of the album, I thought. That's weird. Okay.
Nah, not for me. I thought it was filler. But with this band, performances are fantastic. You expect no less. There was some nice little Foley touch in this one too, with like the ocean and the fire kind of stuff on this one. And the little folky kind of touch on Death of the Celts. It's a nice little change of things in there as well. All in all, this is an album that could have been cut down to 60 minutes comfortably. This didn't need to be 80 minutes plus. I think that fans are going to be happy with it. It's not going to attract anything new. Their fan base is established now. They don't need to do anything new, and they're going to make music for themselves, and I've got no problem with that. It's still an enjoyable listen. I really did actually like it. I just think it's a bit too much for what it is and doesn't do enough to keep you interested and locked in for the full duration. I think that if you get the first 40 minutes of this one is really cool. That's the album for mine. The second disc on this one in the digital format, I don't think you go to that anywhere near as often as you will for the first six, if you're anything like me. Solid, well-executed album. It's well worth listening to, but I think that the first disc is by far the better of the two when it comes to digital platform. 8 out of 10. The Writing on the Wall, Days of Future Past, and Strategio were my standouts on this one. All right, so we've got some good comments coming through on this one, I knew this band would always get some comments, which is awesome to see. What do we got here? Jeez, got it back a bit. Dave said, just watch that Maiden clip. That's 7 minutes and 24 seconds. I'll never get back. So I actually like that song. That's a good one.
Which song did you put up?
Writing on the Wall.
Writing on the Wall.
Yeah, Dean said, great to see these legends still making music when they don't need to. We'll blast the album tomorrow. Enjoy it and let us know what you think there. If it's going to be your first time checking it out tomorrow, then let us know what you think after hearing our opinion on it. I'd be curious to get your thoughts on it. And this is one of those albums going to appeal to different people in different ways. So just check it out. Because we've got here Jeff saying, love Senjutsu, always a treat when Maiden drops a new CD. Nothing like the heyday of the early to late 80s, but it's easily the best thing since Bruce rejoined, and that's saying something. See, I disagree with that. I think Brave New World shits on this by a long margin. But hey, that's just me. Jonathan Jenkins, unpopular opinion. Thank you for joining us tonight, by the way. But reckon the new Maiden album kind of sounds like an Iron Maiden album if an AI generator tried to make an Iron Maiden album. It's all very same-ish in contrast to their previous album, which had such a huge variety of tracks. I think there's a little bit of something to be said there, but hey, whatever. Everyone's got their own point of view. This one's much more succinct. Gaz Elliott, thank you for joining us on YouTube. Senjutsu sucks. And I do understand why people won't like this one. I get both sides of the argument. I see why people will like it and why people will not like it. Keith is just kind of, it's like Book of Souls, I'm not bothering. Hey, Book of Souls is pretty good.
Book of Souls is pretty good.
Yeah.
Final Frontier is probably better, though. But anyway, Tony says, Senjutsu is good, not great in my opinion. Doesn't grab me like Book of Souls. I enjoyed it, but not loved it. Probably only add the Writing on the Wall to the playlist. That's probably true for me as well. My question is, what other songs would you want to hear live? Senjutsu itself, maybe, but the Parchment, that'd be it. Distinctly, unmistakably Maiden, though. That's true.
Death of the Celts would be fantastic live.
What was that?
Death of the Celts would be fantastic live.
That would be good. I think the Parchment would drag too much in a live setting. Nah. Oh, I do.
Good.
Anyway, Andrew Marshall's gone. Took me until Darkest Hour to really get into it, and then loved Death of the Celts. States of Tull about it, and the rest will give it another listen. Yeah.
Steve Harris's favorite band is Jeff Rotel. That's where all these prog influences are coming from. Always has been.
There you go. Jeff has also said there's a little bit of meandering on the album. A few tracks go on too long, but having said that, they're just showing what they can do, which is true. And they're entitled to at this point in time as well. No one's going to criticize what they're doing at this point in time. Darren says, sounds more like an atmospheric movie soundtrack. Felt too slow for me. Song lengths are too long because they keep playing one riff rhythm for 64 bars while doing something else. I did find that as well. That did.
Yeah.
Especially that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lee said, agree with Reverend Tim. The mix is a deterrent and would benefit from some editing. Still just simply Maiden, but underwhelming. The mix, they do need a different producer. I'm not going to sit here and defend Kevin Shirley to the nth degree. I think it's not that bad, but they do need a different producer. They need someone with balls.
They record, Iron Maiden record albums like a high school band. Like,
yeah,
they just go until they get a drum track they like and just dub it.
Mm-hmm.
Then that's just how it, you know.
Yep.
So that when you've got enough money to be able to do that, then do what you want.
Hey, and they've earned that right. And I'm not going to sit here and listen for that.
Yeah.
Jeff said the guitar solo in Darkest Hour is as good as any they've ever recorded. Okay, that's a big call. Gaz says they should sack Kevin Shirley, horrible producer. There we go. There's a comment there. Nicole has said production is trash, but overall, I love this album. They're never going to be a Power Slave album again. I love the prog element maturing and evolving, and that's the thing too. There's a lot of love for that sort of side of things as well. Here we go. Darren said Lord covered Strategio better than the original. So there's a.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that is pretty cool.
There's something to be said about that. What else have we got here? Tony says, I agree. I think it needs to be listened to as a concept album. I would agree with that, but it's hard to imagine this.
Yeah, but is it?
I don't find a theme. That's the thing. Jeff said, one has to remember that Maiden records live. They almost had a live feel to a point. I think, yeah. Nick P said it's the best album they've ever done. I don't think that's the case. I would say that. Jeff said it's 82 minutes long. Cutting down to 62 minutes would mean taking 2 minutes out of each song. Tough. Maybe it would have distilled a better album. I definitely feel that by a long way.
Brendan is right though when he's saying they'd benefit from a producer who's just like no, do this better.
Yeah, someone to give him a kick in the ass again, but it takes someone with a lot of balls to do that.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen, but that's okay.
That's okay. Like they don't have to prove anything to anyone. It's not about that. It's just that what you want as a good one. Dave says I got 5 minutes into it and wondered when the intro would finish and then when the song would start. So there's a bit of that about it as well. And here's an interesting question. What producer from Dean, what producer do you think should they go with in the next album? Or who would you like to see with as a producer? Any thoughts on that one?
I don't know. I don't know what would work at this stage of their career. Bob Rock. What the?
He'd shorten them up. Mutt Lang, maybe? No, Mutt Lang make it interesting.
Dre?
Dr. Dre.
Oh, no.
I think that's actually an interesting conversation to make for a topic discussion at some point. Might put that one on notice and we'll revisit that one a little bit later on. Jeff's gone.
But you know who should produce it? The dude who produced Firepower.
Yes, whoever that is.
Andy Snape. Andy Snape would be good.
Yeah,
Andy Snape, because he's done a few great albums lately.
Yeah, Andy Snape would be one. He would put a rocket up him, I reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Andy Snape. There we go. That answers the question for me.
I'd be happy with that.
Yep. Andy Snape would be great. That would be the one I would like to see. Do that. That'd be. Jeff's gone dig up Martin Birch. Hey, if you could, I would agree, but it's not going to happen. So there we go. Jeff also said it could be they're just too comfortable with Shirley. They need to be uncomfortable, and that would bring out something different. And that's why I think getting Andy Snape, because he's not afraid to fucking tell anyone anything. Sally said Rick Rubin. Now, I would agree, except his work on Death Magnetic sucked, and he lost some.
Well, no, because the thing is with Rick is that Rick is very much a hands-off producer.
Yeah.
He's gonna disappear for 3 days, then show up and go, "Yep, sounds good," then disappear again. So that's not the guy. They need somebody opposite to that.
Yeah, and Darren's gone. He would fall asleep. So there we go. He got ripped on for like falling asleep and eating noodles on the couch and stuff by I think it was it Slayer or Anthrax? I don't know which one of the ones it was.
Corey Taylor.
Corey Taylor was it? There we go. And the Watcher Collects Comics. Good to see you here again. Sorry, we'll get back to you in a moment, Tim. But he says, I agree with Tim's review 100%. My attention waned and barely got through it, to be honest. So there we go. Good to see you here with us again, but thank you. You were saying, though, Tim?
Because Slayer used Rick Rubin a lot.
Yeah.
I signed to his label for a while, but yeah.
Nudes has gone Bob Ezrin. Nah.
Bob Ezrin.
Maybe.
Don't think
maybe.
So.
No, I'd
I'd
still
like to
go
hear
with
it, but I don't think so.
Yeah. Anyway, Tim's right. Was a joke. Slipknot. So there we go. There's a comment there. All right. That gets us through all that. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. We'll go to a bin, and then we'll let the guys go so they can go watch their pay-per-view. So,
granted,
before we get
I do like Rick Rubin.
Hey?
Granted, I do like a lot of Rick Rubin's albums.
I do as well, but yeah, ever since the Death Magnetic album, I kind of lost a lot of the sparkle for mine on that. If you can let that much clipping go through, I'm like, yeah, I don't trust it. Lee's gone. Get into the Wild Hearts album, 21st Century Love Songs. My favorite release from last week, by far, eclectic and fun. By the way, we're reviewing that on Thursday. So just for those paying attention, we're back again on Thursday night to run the stream. Our next one will be the Wild Hearts, Black Swamp Water, and deep cut from Megadeth from 20 years ago. That's what we're going to be doing on Thursday night. So join us then for our next stream. Also, check us out 10 o'clock, new time, 10 o'clock Thursday nights on Channel 44 in Adelaide and 10:30 p.m. on Channel 31 in Melbourne on Saturday nights. A big thank you to our fantastic sponsors in Squidding, Screen Printing, Old Cult, and Rockstar Finance. Please find them, give them a follow. Their details, just like ours, are in the description or the post, wherever you're tuning into this one from. So their links are there. Find them, give them a follow. Same thing with us. All our details are there. Find your preferred social media platform and give us a follow. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all the usual things, because that's how we get these streams out there into the world. The smallest interaction helps us, so anything you can do in that regard is fantastic. Patreon page and also stuff there as well to check out. But that's it, and that brings us to the sort of business end of proceedings done. So let's get into it. Let's get to the fun part. Let's get to the bin before everyone falls asleep and the boys revolt because I want to go and watch their wrestling. So Dave, over to you first.
I was a bit kind earlier. I'm putting Night Flight Orchestra in the bin.
Short and to the point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. All right, Tim.
Craig Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
Just fuck off, dude. Like, no one gives a shit about your text messages. Fuck off.
Yes, completely agree. The amount of fucking messages that everyone's getting from that, I still have not got one. Having said that, I'll probably get one in about 5 minutes after saying that. What was that, Brendan?
I'm a bit disappointed I haven't got one. I'm like, what did I do wrong?
Okay, so it's you and I on the same page again because I haven't got one yet either. Jody's been getting them all the time. I haven't got one yet. All right. Anyway, Brendan, what's your bin tonight?
AFL umpires that know when they're on telly. You very nearly ruined a game of football again on Saturday night. I don't think you did, but Jesus, you tried. You really, really tried to ruin that game. So remember, you are there to oversee the game, not police it.
Wise words.
Yes, very good point. My bin is much more mundane. I've had a few days off and went back to work for the first time in about a week today. So that feeling when you've had like a week off and then you go back to work for the first day, it's like,
Yep.
in the morning, that feeling can go in the bin. I really don't like it, and it's such a drag. And when you get through the day, you're like, oh fuck, it's only Monday, and you got the rest of the week to go. It's like that feeling in there for me this week. What do we got here? So we got just a few comments here to go through before we get out of here. So Dean said Rick Room went in and out for days while ACD said ball breaker. That's true as well. The Youngs didn't like him for that. Heard he does it with bands. He does sometimes. Lee said, thanks, boys. And Tim, we trust. So there we go. We're getting a few different people jumping back and forth for that. Andrew wants to put people not following lockdown rules who complain about lockdown in the bin as well. And Keith's gone, the Night Flight Orchestra in the bin. Hands up who saw that one coming. It's going to be a popular one. All right, here we go. Tony said, thanks again, guys. Love the show. Thank you for tuning in and glad everyone enjoyed it. Dean said, 100% agree with it. Brendan, 47 free kicks in the final. Come on, AFL. And Sally's gone. Thanks, guys. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. A bit of a longer one, but it's been a bit of fun, so hopefully you've all enjoyed it. We'll see you all again very, very soon. Until next time, I'm Andrew.
Tim.
I'm Dave.
Brendan.
As always,
Drink up.
Rock on.